over the last 6 years, I've had the privilege to work as the executive director of the SLO County Bicycle Coalition. And the Bicycle Coalition works to promote active transportation all throughout our region. We hear from community members and residents who want desperately to be able to ride with their kids to school and to get around their community by car, by bike, and by foot. And so I've been working with communities to talk to their city government and say, let's complete some of these projects. And what I've been experiencing in various places is the demand, the energy, the want to move there, but also dealing with the struggles of how we find the resources to move forward. And so I've been able to build some great relationships throughout San Luis Obispo County with decision makers who are focusing on something positive, something that will help our quality of life, and focusing on completing projects that people actually want. And so I know there's a lot of nuance that goes into that. I know there's very complex financing to pay for those infrastructure improvements, and I'm hopeful to help decision makers continue to be excited about completing projects that make our residents happy.
Well, I've been a native here my whole life. I've opened several businesses throughout my life here in San Luis Obispo, and I know quite a bit about the government of San Luis Obispo over the last 20 years, I should say, 25, that I've taken interest. Because of all the above, I believe that I am qualified to be mayor of San Luis Obispo and speak for we the people, which I don't believe has really taken place in quite a few years, and that is my goal.
I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I have to negotiate with her. And a 17-year-old daughter. So anyway, I think that, I wasn't completely joking about that, but I think that I have this interesting background where I had my own business for 10 years and grew it to 20 employees and really knew what the business owners struggle with on a day-to-day basis. But I also, I've been wearing my business hat here a little bit more today than usual, but I also have the nonprofit hat. I have I run a countywide organization that has homeless services, and we have case managers working with almost every school district in our county. And so I know what families are going through right now, and I know that the effects of when a business struggles, how it affects the families, because a lot of what we do is prop them up to get them moving on. Homeless services, I know what it means. We hear a lot about case management. I know what that means from a basic level. I know the limitations, and I know the strengths. And I think looking at the challenges San Luis is facing, I think that's going to be important in the next 10 years.
Well, I'm not sure I do know the nuances and complexities of local government, but I am always learning. I am continually surprised as a member of the City Council about just how nuanced and complex a number of the issues are. And what it's done is it's taught me to be a better listener, somebody who tries to go out a little bit more and try to make sure I hear from everybody, because that's how I always learn about those complexities and those nuances. Certainly the 10 years I spent on the planning commissions and my legal training have helped, the last 15 months on the council have helped. But it is a continual learning experience, and I hope to be able to continue to do that. Thank you.
After spending nearly 3 decades mastering the complexities at the federal and state level, they're a lot different than what we deal with at this level. My time on the grand jury, I met people from throughout the county. We dealt with local, state, with local and county issues. We begin to realize just how complicated life is at the county level, at the city level. Working on the county's Juvenile Justice Commission, which is also the Delinquency Prevention Commission, have dealt with the various agencies of the county government and also with some of the school districts, and realize how complicated simply the education and dealing with juveniles becomes. As you spend time at this level, and I've been somewhat involved with residents for quality neighborhoods, you realize that there are a lot of issues that pertain to people and where they live, and they are not all the same issues. People in different parts of town have different issues that they would like to see addressed. It's always going to be a delicate issue, balancing those. You've got a business community and a variety of types of business communities, and those are more complicated.
Thank you.
As the Don Quixote of San Luis Obispo, with Rocinante out there that I ride around my neighborhood, I have interacted with so many of my neighborhood businesses that I echo in the meetings a lot of their concerns. I've also hounded the city, and sometimes I think we have some dysfunctionalness in our governments that inhibits solving of problems, but it took a year, and I finally got those warning curve arrows at the bridge on Sacramento Drive, where we went from 5 or 6 accidents in a year down to 1 accident in a year. And I've also tracked some creek problems around the Damian Garcia sports field that has been another episode of bucking against conflicting agencies.
Thank you. Well, I've lived here in San Luis Obispo 26 years, so I do know the community. My husband taught for Cal Poly for that time. I've also taught part-time at Cal Poly. So I have an academic background. I've founded a branch of a small community college in Canada. I also was the dean of students down in Southern California. And then, so there's that, and it's really helpful for a town-gown relationship to know about the academic world. And I had my own law practice for 17 years, and that included business law and mediation, as well as my main focus, which is land use and environmental law and estate planning. And the other thing is that I've been an elected official for 10 years. So beyond that, I've had regional representation. Now this is my 8th year of regional representation with on SLOCOG and that kind of thing. So I'm still learning and I'm still listening, and it is really complex, but the reason that you elect people is that you want us to exercise our discretion, and I think I'm equipped to do that. Thank you.
Probably the most useful tool I have in my toolbox is economics, and it allows me to understand truly how little I know. This city government is a complex beast, as all governments are, and there's a lot of variables to go on. One of the things I first learned was Glenadina Dovey said, never promise anyone anything. And I've learned, because these issues, you never seem to know all that you need to know until the very end when you have to make the decision. These are the things that I've learned. I've had a very varied background in 2 countries. Worked in nonprofits, worked for government, worked in the private sector. I'm a financial advisor today. I've also do a lot of volunteering. I'd encourage you to go to my and indeed everyone's website, find out a bit more about us. But I think my background is such that I've established my priorities and what's important. And what's important is you, me, and particularly our kids.